Hello and welcome to another episode of Cut Through TV. My name's Dan Hasler from Cut Through Coaching, and joining me today is the ever sartorially elegant Mr. Tim Perkins. How are you, sir?
Mr. Hasler, it's so lovely to see you. Sharp shirt.
Thank you very much.
Looking good.
Appreciate it. Looking good yourself, mate.
Thank you.
So, obviously over the past 3 days we've been chatting a lot about the 5 ways to wellbeing. We've been talking about the importance of taking notice, connecting and keeping learning. Today, as we dip into our 5 ways, we're going to talk about the notion of giving and why that is good for well-being. And you know, what are some of the ways we might go about doing that, again, in times when we're in, you know, we might be cooped up a little bit.
Yeah, giving's a really nice one, and there is a lot. You know, it's we're at a really interesting time with the bushfires immediately preceding, you know, this situation with coronavirus as well, because I think it's really in lots of ways brought out that sense of volunteering and giving of your time and your energy, and you know, just that idea that our happiness is linked to the happiness of the wider community as well, that although we're isolating, and that really means sort of going inwards, this is about thinking about others and looking outward, and there's lots of great stuff, lots of great opportunities and lots of great stuff happening already. Yeah,
there's a bit of a philosophy, a thought, if you like, in positive psychology in particular, that goes along the lines of, you know, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to do something for somebody else. And I think that's what this notion of giving really does tap into. And obviously you can see, you know, the symbiotic relationship with connecting. You know, it's hard to give if there's no one to give to. But the idea of perhaps maybe, obviously speaking about bushfires, whether it is money or whether it was about just giving your time and getting down there, giving your muscles and tidying up, whatever, giving shelter for people. Who knows?
Cooking meals, looking after people's animals.
So, all right. So, what are some of the things we might look at doing over the next few weeks then?
Yeah. Well, there is a really interesting one that sort of came out. This fella in Perth set up this idea to assist healthcare workers in particular, whose shift work might have been precluding them from getting to the shops at a time that was going to be good for them to be able to get the stuff that they need. And he started this idea of #viral kindness. And we've got a little image here. So apparently, from my understanding, what he did was develop these little cards and then put them in people's letterboxes, particularly for people who were self-isolating, and saying, okay, is there anything I can do to help you? Can I pick up your shopping for you? You know, can I give you a call?
I like that one.
Just have a
chat.
Can
I give you a friendly, which really ties it back in, if you remember, to what we were talking about, connecting. You know, going outside your normal network and just putting yourself out there.
And look, this is incredibly rewarding for the giver as well. And giving is a really fundamental human desire. And you don't, as this sort of shows, you don't have to have a whole lot to give. But I suppose what you do have is this sense of abundance, this sense that, you know, my cup's overflowing. And although that might not be in a material sense, I've got a bit of time, I've got a bit of compassion, I've got a bit of energy, I can help. You know? Yeah,
cool. So, I mean, that's something that you could perhaps do if the guidelines are still permitting us to do this in your area. I'm also interested in the idea of doing something, you know, with your kids perhaps, and maybe even tying it in with the other strands of, for example, keep learning. So back when I was teaching, we actually engaged with a platform called Kiva, and what Kiva is, for want of a better word, it's a microfinancing company where essentially people donate money, and you can kick off with like $20, $25. So something that we're going to look at in Hasler HQ is giving some of the money that the kids have been saving for charity to Kiva, or to possibly anyway, where we actually sit down, and what Kiva does is it provides a platform. If I can show you a couple here. Provides a platform for all different people, all different communities around the world who need a helping hand, and you can give anything from like $5, $10, but the idea is that at some point, more often than not, the money comes back to you. So there's a really interesting lesson there that you can keep giving more, but you could, I mean, I'm thinking of this actually in terms of like a learning activity and a connecting activity as much as a giving activity, where you might sit down with your kids and you might zoom in on a particular area, you might learn about a particular place in the world, you might learn why a particular community in that place of the world needs some assistance. And you know what, if you've got $10 that you've been saving in your pocket money jar, what do you think about giving it over here?
One of the nice things about this site as well is that as you click your way through these, you see particular programs. So, for example, refugees and IDPs there on the left. It may be that they...
So IDPs, for people who might not be...
internally displaced people, so people who are refugees within their own country's boundaries. So they might be developing some micro business, such as having chickens to provide eggs for themselves, and then to be able to sell eggs and to be able to get back on their feet in a way where their dignity is not compromised at all. So this isn't a handout. So this idea is, so someone might set a target and say, well, I need $100. And so your $10 from your kids goes towards that, and you see the target getting closer, and eventually what the person has requested, the money's given to them. One of the amazing things about microfinancing, and this really is very closely tied to the dignity idea, that apparently about 98 or 99% of people repay their loans, which is quite extraordinary considering the impoverished circumstances that a lot of these people are genuinely in.
Absolutely. So whether it's Kiva, whether it's the viral kindness, maybe it's just doing random acts of kindness for the hell of it, there's all manner of ways you can set these things up. A nice act of kindness could be, for example, I mean, I don't know, but I'm just, but a nice act of kindness might be just to forward this video onto a friend of yours.
You are shameless.
Just forward it on, just be kind and just share the good vibes that we've got going on there. But in all seriousness, just thinking about somebody else and just putting it out there that you've taken the moment to think of someone else and do something. It doesn't matter how grand or small it is, but the fact that you're just doing something for somebody else, the research actually suggests that that's the best thing you can be doing for yourself. And
focusing on somebody other than ourselves is such a good thing, and and it does, it releases the feel good vibes that keep us going. And we've all got every reason to worry about our own job security. For older people to be really worrying about their superannuation as the stock market heads south. But to be able to say, okay, well, let's park all of that just for a moment and think about somebody else, and it might help us view our own situation slightly more optimistically as well.
Or at the very least, give us a break from thinking about our situation.
Exactly.
So look, hope you found that worthwhile. I hope you're enjoying this series. We've got one more episode in the series to come, and that is going to drop tomorrow, when we take on the challenge of how do you stay active when you have to stay indoors. But until that episode, make sure you do subscribe to Cut Through TV, share it far and wide. But until next time, cheers Tim, take care, take it easy.